All right, let's rewind back to 2024 in Ghana. Get ready for a deep dive into the trends that had everyone buzzing. We've got music, controversies, social media showdowns, even a cooking marathon hoax, believe it or not.
It's like a wild ride.
It was.
Yeah.
And our roadmap for this deep dive, an article from 3news.com titled Five Things That Dominated the Trends in 2024. It was published just a few days ago on December 21st, so it's fresh, hot off the press. Ready for some analysis.
And it really does capture the energy of the year every
Yeah.
week. Like, bam, a new headline.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So let's kick things off with a story that really got people talking. Remember Nigerian Afrobeat singer Omale and his, well, let's just say interactive performance with a fan back in February?
Oh, yeah, that was a spectacle. The internet, I mean, it just exploded. Everyone had an opinion, staged, inappropriate, just part of the show.
It definitely got people debating, what's okay, what's not when it comes to artists and fans, those interactions. And it wasn't just a fleeting gossip thing. This incident sparked a much bigger conversation about performance ethics, especially in a world where, well, everything ends up on social media in a flash.
Right. That instant sharing changes things. Makes you think about how this digital age is reshaping what we expect, from celebrities, and how these incidents, they just blow up so quickly.
It's like a ripple effect. Okay, moving on. Let's switch gears to a totally different kind of viral moment, one that really got people thinking deeply about success. Like, what does it actually mean to be successful in Ghana today? Remember the Mr. Happiness versus PhD debate?
Oh, how could we forget? Kofi Gabbs, Mr. Happiness, he stirred the pot, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Claiming that a Dutch passport was more valuable than a PhD here in Ghana.
And it wasn't just like a hot take for attention, It really tapped into some very real anxieties people have, don't you think?
Absolutely. It forced people to confront the issue of, well, brain drain. Like, do the opportunities here match the aspirations of highly educated Ghanaians? I mean,
Right.
it's not surprising, is it, that someone might feel that a foreign passport has, more potential than years of study if they're not seeing the same prospects at home.
That's such a good point. And it pushes us to think beyond just, passport versus PhD. Like, what's really driving this sentiment? Is it all about the money? Or are there these deeper cultural and social forces at play?
It's complex. For some, leaving might be about seeking new experiences or escaping, perceived limitations. And for others, it's a very calculated decision based on, economic realities. It raises questions about how we value different paths to success, what it means to thrive in Ghana, in today's world.
Right. It makes you wonder, what does Mr. Happiness himself define as success? Is it just about, money, or is there something more for him?
Well, that's a question for Mr. Happiness. But it's definitely worth pondering. And, this actually leads us to another headline-grabbing story, although maybe a little lighter. The breakup of Medical and Fela Makafui, our own Kapando Beyonce and So Tuum Jay-Z, as they were called.
The Metafella saga. It felt like everyone and their mother had an opinion. But what struck me, beyond the gossip, was how intensely people reacted. It was like their own best friends were splitting up.
Yeah, that says a lot about these parasocial relationships, the ones people develop with celebrities.
Yeah.
Especially with social media these days. It's like this illusion of intimacy. Makes you feel connected, even though you don't actually know them personally. So their lives become entertainment, their dramas, they become our dramas.
It's easy to forget sometimes that these are real people with real feelings. They're not just, characters on our feeds. But speaking of blurry lines, let's talk about Chef Smith and that cooking marathon, or should I say cooking marathon hoax?
This one, it really showed how you can't believe everything you see, especially online. I mean, Chef Smith, he claimed a world record for the longest cooking marathon, even had a whole press conference and everything.
People fell for it, hook, line, and sinker. But, like they say, if it seems too good to be true, it probably is. And, well, the whole thing, completely made up. The backlash was intense.
It makes you think, right, about who's responsible for checking facts. The media, the public. Especially now with all the clickbait and things going viral so fast.
Yeah, critical thinking is more important than ever. We can't just accept everything we see, especially, well, online. And speaking of critical thinking, this brings us to our last stop on this 2024 rewind, the Free the Citizens protests.
This movement, it came about because of the crackdown on illegal mining. The Galamsey issue. People were protesting the arrest from those Stop Galamsey Now demonstrations.
Those protests were powerful, really showed the tension, between the environment, the economy, and individual freedoms. Not an easy problem to solve.
And all this, it was happening just before the 2024 elections, which, well, they really shook things up politically. John Mahama, NDC, back in power. Pretty decisive victory, too. 56.81% of the vote. And the NPP, they lost like over 50 parliamentary seats.
Wow. Makes you wonder, did those protests have something to do with it? I mean, they showed how people were feeling.
It's possible to Free the Citizens protests, they might have tapped into like a wider frustration, with the government at the time. Maybe some voters saw it as a sign that things needed to change.
Looking back, it's fascinating, isn't it? All these events, from Omole's dance to these protests, they all fit into this bigger picture of Ghana in 2024.
Each one tells us something.
Yeah.
About, the values, the hopes, the worries of Ghanaian society.
Yeah.
Shows how, well, even small things can have a big impact, Connect to these larger trends socially and politically.
Like each event is a thread, and when you weave them together, you get the whole tapestry of the year.
Exactly. And it makes you think, right, what seems small now, but could end up being huge later on.
That's the thing with hindsight. Looking back, we can see how it all connects, but in the moment, we're just living it.
And that's why it's so important to pay attention, ask questions, engage with what's going on. Who knows, what impact our actions might have.
So as we wrap up our 2024 Rewind, what are some things you hope our listener takes away from all this?
I think the big thing is realizing we all play a part, in shaping how things go in Ghana, whether it's online discussions, protests, or even just having thoughtful conversations about what matters. Our voices, they make a difference. Our actions, they all add up to something bigger.
Yeah, it's easy to feel like one person doesn't matter, but 2024 it really showed us that's not true at all.
Right, like those Free the Citizens protests.
Right.
Started small, right. But it became this whole movement nationwide. And who knows, maybe that even influenced the election results.
And even those online debates, like the whole Mr. Happiness thing, it got people talking about brain drain, economic opportunity, what it even means to succeed here. These aren't just abstract ideas, They affect people's lives, the choices they make.
Absolutely. And it's not just about knowing these issues exist, right? It's about thinking critically about them, questioning things, seeking out different perspectives.
Not just reading headlines, but actually, being part of the conversation.
Exactly. And that's kind of what this deep dive is about. We've only scratched the surface here, really. There's so much more to explore. So I encourage you, dig deeper into what really resonated with you.
Yeah. Do your own research, challenge your own assumptions, see where it leads you. You might be surprised.
Learning, it's a journey, not a destination. And as you start on that journey, I want to leave you with a thought. We talked about how our actions, they affect society, right? But what about the other way around? How do all these big trends, social, political, how do those shape you, your own journey?
That's a good question. Yeah. How has 2024, all the things that happened, the trends, the debates, how has it shaped your own view of things, what you hope for?
As we head into a new year, it's a chance to, reflect on that. Think about how we want to be a part of Ghana's story, how it keeps going.
That's a great way to put it. And on that note, we'll leave you to ponder those big questions. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into 2024.
It's been a pleasure. See you next time.